Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, in a set of tragic circumstances, a 4-year-old girl has been hit by a car in Claremont. Police say the child was in the back seat of her family's broken down car when she opened the door and ran into the path of a passing vehicle.
A 4-year-old girl rushed to hospital, her father by her side.
It's a tragic set of circumstances for any parent and also for any other driver on the road.
The family's car had broken down in the middle of Claremont. The girl and another child remaining in the car as repairs were attempted by their father.
I believe he was underneath the bonnet, so his attention was drawn to the circumstances involving the vehicle.
But as the driver worked to fix the car, the unthinkable happened.
The child has run onto the roadway, and as a result, the vehicle that was travelling in the same direction has collided with the child.
This suburban street in chaos. An off-duty doctor stopped to administer first aid. Those in surrounding houses rushed out to help.
So some local residents heard what had occurred and rendered as much assistance as possible.
The driver of the other car involved is receiving support, but police say at this stage they don't believe speed, alcohol or drugs were involved.
But that'll be fully investigated by Crash Investigation Services.
A heartbreaking crash, every parent's worst nightmare.
And our reporter Meg Sides joins us now from outside the Royal Hobart Hospital. Meg, do we know what condition the little girl is in tonight?
Good evening, Kim. We know the child was taken to hospital shortly after 1 p.m. in a critical condition, her father by her side. Now, we have had an update from the hospital. It's understood that 4-year-old is still fighting for her life this evening. Now, police have thanked those who stopped by the scene to help administer first aid today. But Kim, I'm sure that little girl will be in many people's thoughts tonight.
Well, early results from a US COVID vaccine trial for primary school children is showing it's safe and effective. Tasmania's peak medical body says it would support 5 to 11-year-olds receiving a Pfizer dose if it's approved in Australia.
Our youngest could soon be queuing up and joining the vaccine fight, a US trial showing some initial promising results.
Being consistent with what we expected, that children would be able to tolerate the vaccine well and that it would hopefully have good, robust immune responses.
American doctors say the trials involved 2 reduced doses of the Pfizer vaccine, and with the Delta variant presenting new challenges in the pandemic, children now need to be part of the immunisation program.
We are seeing this in every place, every hospital in the countries that we are having data reported from, where children represent a good proportion, maybe 1 out of 4 or 1 out of every 3 cases of COVID now.
The topic dividing local parents and grandparents.
If it's shown to be safe and it's going to give them the best possible outcomes if they were to come in contact with someone that was unwell with the virus, then I'd be all for it.
It'd be really good. I think the sooner that we know the children can be safe, the better.
It'd be fine. I'd be fine about it.
No, definitely not. I don't think, until I see studies, I would not recommend, because I'm very cautious about drugs at all.
The Australian Medical Association says it believes any hesitancy among parents will lessen once the trial results are released and approvals are given.
Australia has a very high level of childhood immunisation. I think it's something like 85%, and that's for the full range of childhood vaccines. So I imagine that the majority of parents will just consider this another vaccine.
Complete results from the trial are expected later this year. Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
In another boost to our tourism industry, Virgin Australia has announced it will have more direct flights to Tasmania in time for the summer holidays. A service between Adelaide and Hobart will operate 4 times a week from mid-October, while flights from Hobart to Perth will take off 3 times a week from the end of next month. It's hoped the additional flights will see more families reunited in time for Christmas. More than 14,000 animals are rescued by Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary in Tasmania each year, 2,000 of those requiring ongoing care. Now, another wildlife group is stepping into the state to help even more injured and orphaned animals.
These animals, as cute as they might be, haven't had the easiest lives. each rescued and now cared for at Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary.
The numbers of animals that need help are never going to go backwards. Basically, every single year they're going to get higher and higher.
Now another wildlife group is stepping in to help fill a gap, assisting rescuers place those animals with carers.
The idea is that we can get them to a person who's most suitably qualified and hopefully close to the proximity of where it was.
Of course, for our guys that are out there rescuing so hard and doing all that hard work, if the animal then doesn't get placed, then the rescue's been for nothing.
The state government is currently developing a strategy for the wildlife rehabilitation sector, $460,000 allocated for its implementation.
We're providing support over coming years to improve the capacity of wildlife services in Tasmania.
Bonorong had been planning on expanding its services before the pandemic, but that's been put on hold. The sanctuary is still struggling with a lack of international tourists.
You know, there's so much more the state needs, from a hospital in the north of the state to help assist up there, as well as, you know, potentially more actual paid rescuers to pick up the pieces or do the really tricky rescues.
Urging Tasmanians to keep supporting the sanctuary until borders reopen and to take the opportunity to use any remaining travel vouchers.
Visit those businesses that are offering services like the Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary here, and to use those vouchers if you haven't been out and about.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian ram has marched into the record books, selling for a whopping $41,000 at auction. The staggering price tag left the Whitemore farmer gobsmacked, describing the surging lamb market as the best he's ever seen.
Standing at 115 kilograms and stacked with muscle, 15-month-old Lyle is one prized ram.
He's got a nice clean face. He's a very smooth animal.
Smooth is what he'll need to be as a prolific breeder at his new home in outback New South Wales. The young buck fetched a meaty $41,000 at auction yesterday, 16 grand more than the previous best of owners Andrew and Caroline McLaughlin.
Someone just said, "Holy smoke, you've just broken the record."
In fact, it smashed not only the national but world record for Poll Dorsets, a breed the farmer's grandfather helped pioneer more than 70 years ago.
It's very gratifying to see that a result like this after so many years and generations of hard work.
A further 17 stud rams also went under the online hammer for an average of $9,000 each, a small example of the nation's booming lamb market.
It's a great time to be in the industry.
You know, when you start talking about, good season, good commodity prices, you're starting to see that there is, a positive atmosphere building up around ag.
The next challenge will be getting Lyle to his new home. Interstate border restrictions and lockdowns mean multiple transport companies may be required. The transfer is expected to take a few months. Until then, this lucrative, record-breaking ram will be guarded under lock and key. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, Tasmanian Olympics veteran Brian Rowe may have just overseen the most unique Olympics in history, but he says the fact that he even went ahead is the most extraordinary part. In his 7th Games as an official, Rowe says Paris 2024 will likely be his last, as he reflected on the heartache for local fans and surprises inside the stadium at Tokyo 2020.
The pandemic games had fans on the edge of their seats. Only they were sitting at home, making Brian Rowe's experience even more exceptional.
Well, I think the unique thing is that it actually happened, and it was really important it did happen.
One of only 12 technical athletics officials from outside Japan, Rowe saw and heard the difference.
The Americans are going to win by about 60 metres.
We had the fake noise, which I'm told for a lot of other events is only actually put on the TV, but we had it in the stadium. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Of course, nothing compares to the real roar. Rowe could only rue the barriers blocking Japanese fans from their own stadiums.
It's one of the saddest things for me. Every day when we came back to our hotel after 10 o'clock at night there'd be lots of Japanese families, mum, dad, 2 little kids, grandma, all standing outside the wire fence around the stadium, which was beautifully lit up at night, sticking their camera lenses through the wire and taking a photo, because that was all they were getting.
Although some events, like the marathon, did draw a crowd.
People did sneak out, and the great thing was that the authorities didn't stop them.
Officials are usually in the background, but at one point Rowe had a global glare.
Yes, at last. Oh, no!
When mass confusion followed 7 false starts, most athlete error, others technical issues.
Whatever's happening, it's got to be sorted out.
And we had no more than 7 for the whole of the rest of the games.
Having officiated at 7 Olympics, Rowe says Paris will see him out.
Well, I hope so, because I hope I can pass the baton to somebody else.
But Rowe's respect for the Japanese organisers is resolute.
They managed it very well. There were very few hiccups in terms of the pandemic-related issues, and the quality of the games. The results in the sports just showed how keen the athletes were to be there.
Paris set to be the final leg of a Tasmanian's marathon Olympic journey. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A number of local bars are representing Tasmania on the national stage tonight. 6 establishments have been nominated across various categories in Bartender Magazine's Australian Bar Awards. They will watch the ceremony together at Rude Boy in Hobart. The nominees proud to be flying the flag for the local industry.
I know that there's amazing bars out there, and we're just happy to be nominated at the end of the day. So yeah, very exciting.
It's really nice to just get everyone together and just throw a party and celebrate not just the bar awards and the bars nominated, but just the community in general.
The awards will be live streamed on Australian Bartenders Facebook page from 7 p.m.
He stands at 7'1", and Jock Perry is looking to make an equally big impact at the Tasmania JackJumpers this season.
He doesn't have to jump too high to reach the net, and Jock Perry is hoping that will work to his advantage. Back in Australia after 4 years in the American college system, the development player is focused on being ready when needed.
I'm always going to stay ready. I think that's going to be my focus. Just whenever my number's called, give it my all and play hard.
Perry and housemate Matt Kenyon finally on court for pre-season. Kenyon has experience with Brisbane in the NBL, also training with the Lakers, Clippers and Bulls in the NBA. He's putting his hand up to do the dirty work.
Scott's a massive defensive coach. He's really been preaching that all the pre-season so far, and that's what I bring.
An actual starting date for the regular season is once again up in the air. The NBL now floating a mid-December tip-off, which could be beneficial for the new side.
A little bit more time doesn't necessarily hurt. We can connect with the community a bit more as well, so I don't think it hurts at all.
The more we can go have coffees and dinners and bond and these guys get acclimated here, the better it is for us.
COVID vaccinations also a hot topic. After the break is released Ty Webster over his reluctance to have one.
Most of us guys are willing to get vaccinated and do what we have to play, but at the end of the day, everyone has their own personal choice.
The coach not buying into it.
That's out of my lane. Next question.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Southern Tasmania's men's and women's hockey premiers are toasting their success this week. In the women's, OHA was too strong for Derwent, defeating them 2-0. Player of the match Isabel Krumik says the result is a testament to the work they've put in this season.
It's an amazing feeling. We've worked so hard for this all season, so it was amazing to get that win, and it was really good.
In the men's, Derwent won a classic contest after going 2-0 up. They fell behind before levelling to take it to sudden death. The man who scored the winner says the shootout has been a must-watch.
Probably 30 or 40 times as a group now. A couple of saves Mags made in that shootout on Saturday was kind of kept us in it.
Derwent's Vaughan Bowen was named player of the match. The Tasmanian Tigers are on their way to the Gold Coast ahead of their first Sheffield Shield match against Queensland. It's a big test for interim coach Ali De Winter, who concedes the side doesn't travel well.
We know that we've been less than consistent when we played on the road. We play quite well at Blunston Arena, being our home, but we know we've got to get better on the road. And luckily, if we're as good as the last game we played in Perth last year, we'll start the season really well.
De Winter says there's no timeline for how long he'll be in control before a full-time replacement coach is picked.
Good evening. 15 was the state's top in Launceston today, Devonport 14, 13 in Hobart and 12 in Burnie. 12 right across Wynyard, Lowhead and King Island, Strawn 10 and 14 at Bushy Park. On the close-up shows low-level clouds streaming over the state. Further out, low cloud is seen over the southeast of the mainland, mostly clear skies elsewhere. Tomorrow, a large high sits over South Australia and extends a ridge over most of Australia. West to northwesterly winds tomorrow, 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 in the south. Swells up to 7 metres in the west and south and up to 1 metre in the north and east. A gale warning is current for southern coastal waters from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point, and a strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters and for the southwest lakes. Tomorrow's forecast now, mostly sunny across Hobart and Bothwell, Geeveston 18. In the north, Launceston and Cressy 21, sunny in Devonport. Burnie tomorrow, partly cloudy, 15 about Strawn and Curry. And 21 and sunny right across St Helens, Swansea and Orford. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast, Thursday showers about the west, far south and northeast. Friday showers contracting to the west and far south. And Saturday showers about western, southern and central areas, easing in the evening. Capital cities 28 and sunny in Perth tomorrow. Adelaide partly cloudy. And currently Hobart, mostly cloudy and 12, Launceston partly cloudy and Devonport 11. And Kim, tomorrow's mild temperatures aren't here to stay for long, with a major dump of snow expected on the weekend.
Tassie weather for you. Thanks very much, Jackie. And that wraps up tonight's bulletin. Thanks for joining us. For now, on behalf of the team, good night.